Before I continue with the video, I have a quick announcement to make. I'm going to be switching up my posting schedule, so over the past week and a half I've posted every single day, which has been great for getting my account started and getting my subscribers up and getting, videos out there, but it's a lot of work. I have a full-time job, and each of these videos takes like 1 or 2 hours to film and then double or triple that to edit. So it's definitely a lot of work to keep this account going daily at the same time as having my job. So because I kind of want to focus on some other things in my life right now, I'm going to be reducing the number of times I post per week to 3. I will be posting on Saturday nights, so tonight. I'll be posting on Tuesday nights, and I'll be posting on Thursday nights. So the videos will be available on Sunday morning, Wednesday morning, and Friday morning. I'm going to see how this schedule works out. If it is too much, I will scale back again. If it's not enough, and if I can do more, I will increase the number of videos, but I will definitely keep all of my subscribers in the loop on that. So thank you once again for subscribing to my channel. Hopefully the change in the schedule will make all of my videos of higher quality, and I look forward to where I go next with the YouTube channel. So today's video is going to be based off of a comment that I got from Zachary Wade, who suggested that I do a building based off of Roman aqueducts. Now, when I heard this, I was kind of thinking of different things, ways I could implement a Roman aqueduct. I could do a traditional city. In my split city video, I had kind of something that looked a little bit like an aqueduct. It was more of a viaduct going over the poor half of the city to let the rich people get from the rich half over to the temple. But I haven't built a formal aqueduct yet. I'm kind of surprised that I haven't, because this game seems really conducive to that type of building form. An aqueduct is a very, generic style of building that looks really cool, especially in real life, when you see them in pictures going over like old European cities and things like that. And so that's what I'm going to be doing today. I was thinking of different kind of more creative ways I could implement an aqueduct other than just a normal city. And so I decided to do like Pompeii, the city of Pompeii, the ancient Roman city that got destroyed by that big volcanic eruption. I could do the volcano in the center of the map, or maybe on one side of the map, and then I could have it kind of surrounded by smaller little Roman-style villages. So clearly, when you look at this, you can see that the grid is not consistent at all. There's not a real great way to get one single line around the whole path or the whole perimeter, and as a result, before I continue with the video,
volcano
I have a
won't
quick
be able
announcement
to
to make.
rise so
I'm going to be switching
as I
up
would like
my
it to.
posting schedule.
It'll make it
so
more
over the past
realistic,
week and
just
a
in
half,
terms
I've
of
posted
like
every
looking
single
like
day,
a land
which
feature,
has been great
but
for
it
getting my
won't look
account
like a
started
real
and getting my subscribers up and getting,
hill,
videos
I
out
guess.
there.
It'll look kind of
but
jagged.
it's a lot of work.
So
I have a full-time
let's
job,
begin.
and each of these videos takes like 1 or 2 hours to film, and then double or triple that to edit. So it's definitely a lot of work to keep this account going daily at the same time as having my job. So because I kind of want to focus on some other things in my life right now, I'm going to be reducing the number of times I post per week to 3. I will be posting on Saturday nights, so tonight. I'll be posting on Tuesday nights, and I'll be posting on Thursday nights. So the videos will be available on Sunday morning, Wednesday morning, and Friday morning. I'm going to see how this schedule works out. If it is too much, I will scale back again. If it's not enough, and if I can do more, I will increase the number of videos, but I will definitely keep all of my subscribers in the loop on that. Thank you once again for subscribing to my channel. And
okay, so
thank
right
you once
now,
again for subscribing
in
to my
kind of
channel.
this preliminary
Hopefully
shape,
the change in the schedule
this is how
will
large
make
I
all
think
of my
the
videos
volcano
of higher
base is going to
quality,
be, and then I'll
I
have a
look
flat
forward
area
to
adjacent
where I
to the
go next with the
volcano
YouTube
where I
channel.
will build a more kind of traditional city
And
structure.
I look forward to where
now,
I
when
go
you look at
next
maps
with this channel.
of Pompeii, you can see that this is not accurate at all. In real life, the city wasn't right on the mountain, right so close to the actual eruption itself. It was a little bit farther away. But still, I think that what I'm going to make will hopefully kind of capture the spirit of what happened. So, or maybe it can be Yeah, maybe it can be like a volcanic eruption that happened a long time ago, and so now you just have the volcano itself with a big crater in the top, kind of like Crater Lake in the US, where you've got a big area of water here at the top. And then that can explain why I have an aqueduct, because that aqueduct could be taking water from the crater down the mountain into people's houses. So I know that a lot of mountains or volcanoes or big features like this will have different layers where as you go up, they kind of change color, maybe because of the vegetation there, maybe because it's some kind of subsurface layer that's risen to the surface, maybe because it's snow. So right now I'm going to change to this slightly darker shade of brown. So I think that looks pretty good just in terms of the overall shape and kind of the color scheme, where I have these three layers of kind of the light brown, the dark stony brown, and then a little white snowy layer on top. Now I have to decide how many roofs I want to have versus these flat tops. I think that I want to try to get a little bit more roofs on this mountain. I was originally thinking that it would be all roofs, but it might be difficult to do just given how complicated the overall shape is. Okay, so I think that I might kind of declare the volcano finished for now. Let's continue into the area around the volcano where I can start making the city itself. So before we go any further, I think it's time for me to make the aqueduct. I want to be able to look at the curvature of the map because that will inform where I locate the different columns. I think the key decision for this aqueduct is where should it connect to the mountain. I could probably, if I had enough time, do it to the top and kind of have a waterfall-ish feature going all the way down, but I really don't think that's necessary. I think what I should do is have like a marble aqueduct, or no, maybe not marble, maybe just this color, because that's more normal, common sandstone-y color. I can kind of have it coming out of the middle of the mountain, maybe through some kind of tube or tunnel or something, assuming that the water line on the inside of this crater is actually pretty low. And then it can kind of come out here and curve around this map like this. The curvature is not going to be perfect. It will be perfect here, but then as you kind of get into these other directions, it might make some weird corners and things like that. But I think that's okay. So let's just make a couple of marks of good place. And then I think that's probably high enough for the aqueduct. Should I make them one column apart or two columns apart? I think one column apart. If it's kind of supposed to be built in the ancient times, we should really underestimate how advanced these people were in terms of their structural engineering capabilities. I don't think they were really into long spans of anything, especially not stone. You know, I think it actually could look cool to make kind of a climbing aqueduct. that looks way cooler than I thought it would look. It looks so cool coming down, kind of zigzagging down this mountain. Awesome. So let's continue into the water.
So once I had the ground covered in tiles, I decided to surround the whole thing with a red wall and then start building the foundations of the 2 cities I would have on my map. And these foundations would be the harbors. I figured that because it's an island city, the basis for their city centers and the basis for their economies would probably be on their ports.
Okay, so that's the city wall, and then I think I can kind of split it up into a couple of downtown areas. One around this harbor, one around this harbor, and then maybe a few buildings over here or something like that. I don't think I want to make this as developed as I usually make my cities, just because I kind of like the idea of there being a couple of small villages around each of these ports, rather than just one big mega city across the whole thing. Awesome. Okay, so now that I've defined the green area around this main city, then I can kind of worry about infilling with the buildings that I want. So I think right by the water, I should have the main buildings of the city. That would be like the town hall, that would be kind of the main commercial buildings, and then in the back, that's where I can have the more residential stuff. So I think I'm going to try to find my favorite type of town hall starter square, like that, perfect, where I've got one central tower in the middle with these little wings coming out on all sides. Perfect. And then maybe right next to that I can have one of the main commercial buildings. I gotta leave a little space so that people can access the docks over here for fishing boats and stuff. So I can do, or you know what, I can do the main central market over here in this area, and then on the kind of the edges I can have the main commercial buildings. Okay, so that can be kind of a central market area. You know what, that's actually probably too big. I really only need these 2 buildings here. And then we'll do a main commercial building, some kind of light blue, like a skyscraper-y type of thing. Not really a skyscraper because it's only maybe 4 stories, but about as commercial as the city will get will kind of be this region over here. Maybe another one adjacent to it. And then maybe a shop in between them. No, the market, I'm going to make the market align with the street grid over here. It just makes so much more sense. That. Okay, that's good. Maybe this can be a, yeah, like that. And then right next to the town hall, I'll have another building. Maybe this can be like a little courthouse or something, so it's all white. And maybe they're attached a little bit. Great. It's kind of an interesting problem I have here where I have to keep the city into a really small area, but it also has to be bustling. Like there have to be things happening because it's got this harbor, it's got a lot of central buildings that I want to make it interesting, and so it kind of has to be obvious that there are things happening here. So back here, maybe I can do something interesting. Maybe I can have some kind of like cultural building or some kind of auditorium space or something like that. And then to explain how big it is in the midst of the smaller city, maybe we can say that people come from around this whole area just to see what's at this building here. So yeah, let's call it an auditorium. And then the roads between these cities, I could have just arches like this and kind of imply that people walk across, or I could do a more formal like road system along the wall of this mountain here. I think that the best thing to do would probably be if I want to make it obvious that they're different towns, I should just leave as much green as possible between them. I think that makes the most sense. And then to do that, also I might move the downtown here to over here, and then this can be like a I can go like this. I can close it off here, make a wall across this area, and then open up the harbor on that side instead. Or it doesn't even have to be that big. Perfect. So that's the wall to the harbor right there, the entrance right there. And then I'll make something like this in between each of the towers, maybe something constant, so it's maybe like a publicly funded part of the city. Some kind of maintenance shed thing under the aqueducts. Okay, cool. So for this city, it'll be kind of contained within this little bubble right here under this aqueduct. Maybe these purple buildings could be something constant, so they can just go along the entire length of as long as this city goes on for. No, I think I should go like this instead. I think I should add a purple building there and then delete these ones. And that way the city can expand kind of into this space. It's a super small change. It really doesn't make that much of a difference, but it's there anyway. Oh, and then I can also delete a lot of this wall because I don't need it to contain the courtyard anymore. And that'll really open up the city. Okay, that's good. Now the city can kind of breathe a little bit. So here on this corner, this should just be a standard kind of commercial building. It's right by the harbor. Maybe this is the building that kind of manages the harbor area. So, and then maybe two like smaller shops, like a fishing shop or something, and something else like a bait shop. I don't know. And then this area of the city, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I kind of want it to be maybe a red theme so that it's obvious that this and this are two different places. I should probably do an arch opposite this arch. And I wonder if it'll make, will it make a garden path all the way across the thing? Oh, nice. Oh, that is such a cool addition. And a real street going between these two cities. Okay, cool. Let's see. Maybe I could have like could be cool to have a hotel over here used to work at a hotel in my hometown that was right on the water, so it was a super nice place to be because you could have a view over the harbor and the ocean as well. So I think I'll mimic that here. And kind of like the hotel in my Split City video, I'm going to make this one orange. I don't know why I think of orange as kind of a hotel-y color. The hotel that I worked at was not an orange hotel, but whatever. Let's see. And if guests want to have the maximal view of the water, I should do it like this. Have one kind of central axis, and then second level, and then like this. And there could be some kind of outdoor restaurant or something underneath these balconies here. Yeah, that makes sense. And then there could be like a penthouse or something up there. Perfect. And then here, I got to make another town hall. Let's make that red. And it doesn't look like I have any of those town hall squares that I like, which is just the really tiny ones, so I think I'll have to go with this instead. Yeah, like that. And then just make two streets kind of going along. And then maybe I could have, I'll have some buildings on this side of the wall that look out over the water, and they have their entrances underneath the arches of the aqueduct. And lastly, along here, there should be one more thing. Maybe just some more little shops or something. Kind of no big deal type of stuff. Maybe I can expand this feature over here to have little arches over the walkway like this. Just so people have a nice place to walk underneath when they're walking past the edge of the harbor. So it makes staircases on the back of this aqueduct here, which is why the grassy area went away. And I think it's because I added these purple little overhangs right here. So if I deleted them, it would become a walkway again. But is there anything else I can do that's not deleting them that can preserve this walkway? No, I kind of think there isn't. Let's delete. Or maybe if I made them higher like this. I mean, here, now they just look kind of weird, but same effect. Cool. Okay, good. Now it's back to normal. Oh, and then I can do one more street here. In this street actually should probably be the wall as well. And then maybe here there can be some kind of monument. Yeah, I like monuments. And then I can rise a tiny, tiny bit above the aqueduct, maybe a little bit higher, just so it's kind of a distinctive thing that you can see from around the area. And then maybe you could have an arch in the bottom, or you could have an arch on the top. So it's got kind of a viewing tower type component. Cool. And then we can make more buildings along this street here. So I think that's about it for this city right here. And then could I even extend it to this direction? Is there a straight line going somewhere that could end up looking cool?
Honestly, this whole section was such a mess. I was trying to make a pathway through the courtyard area from the second city to kind of the middle of nowhere, but no matter what I did, I kept failing and failing and failing. And so I'm going to cut this part out because honestly, it's kind of depressing.
Okay, perfect. So now I've got a street through there, kind of over to this mountainy area. Maybe the way I can explain this is that this island is naturally really rocky and there's not a lot of soil. And so the soil that they do have is super, super maintained, which is why it's in these enclosed wall areas. But naturally the island looks more like this, where it's just rocks everywhere. Okay, so I've got that city area. I can probably do one last one over here if the path situation lets me. So let's see where the path would take me if I were to draw one.
This is another one of those sections that was just really not working for me. I was trying to create a long path basically across the whole map, but I realized that I couldn't do that through the 5-sided squares. I could do it through the 3-sided squares, but not the 5-sided squares. So I eventually decided to build kind of a guardhouse to facilitate the linking of 2 different paths.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so I've got a path to there. Maybe I can make this kind of like a guardhouse or something. And that can have a second arch on the outside on this side over here. Yeah, I can make a fort over here. Let's do that. And maybe the fort should probably be red, just so it goes in the same line as the color of the wall. Because I'm imagining that whoever built the fort built the walls at the same time, just because it's a protection thing. Okay, yeah, so this can be the fort here, and then there's just an asphalt area for the troops to gather or whatever. Perfect. And then this road goes along. And just to make the fort a little bit more detailed, I can probably add some towers to the corners. That just makes sense. And also to the gate, maybe. Okay, yeah, that looks more like a fort area. And maybe some storage sheds or something, just for arms or whatever. Guns. Oh yeah, some water access too. Maybe there are boats. And then off in this area, I can probably just have like countryside, little houses, farmhouses type of thing. But there aren't really any great places to put them apart from right up against the aqueduct and up against the wall too. That's good, yeah. And then over here, there's one over there, yeah.
So this section is just me going over what I've done so far. I've done kind of the brunt of the work and I only have a few more things left. Next, I decided that because I wasn't really doing a whole lot with the remainder of the flat area on the back of the volcano, I should just cut it away and have the volcano directly come out of the water, just so it wasn't too forced that I was trying to add flat land around everything.
Okay, over here, what I can do, I can add something cool, like one singular building that's kind of far away from everything else. Maybe some kind of really nice hotel, like a luxury resort in the middle of nowhere, meditation center, some kind of religious facility type of thing. Green isn't really a color I've used very much, so I'm going to use, but meditation centers aren't going to be bright green, right? So maybe, actually that's fine, really. So it can be at the end of this road here, kind of jutting out into the water a little bit. And this thing can be weird. It can be a weird shape. Let's give it one floor, and then it'll have just one floor that's nothing. Okay, let's build another one. Maybe a more normal one that's got like two stories per chunk. Okay, yeah, and they can have the cool thing about this is it kind of has access to the mountains from behind. So maybe there's some kind of nature component to the whatever meditation that happens here. And then maybe there can be some kind of facility in the mountains, in the wall of the mountains, like up there. Maybe maybe we can continue it along this whole path here. So there can be a series of little mountain paths that are constructed for this, whatever you might call it, center. That can be kind of built into the mountain there. That actually looks kind of cool. And then maybe over here I can have like a single guard tower or something. That could be nice. Yeah. So that's kind of an extension of the fort wall facility here, is this tower in the water, just to kind of look out over the other side of the island that's not covered by That's not covered by the visibility of the towns or the fort or anything. And you can enter it from a sky bridge, maybe that goes across there, and I can have a single layer of red, so kind of like a walkway going across this whole mountain area. Cool. Maybe there can be some towers on the hill too, just to look over everything. So another kind of military type thing. Let's see, let's have that here maybe. And there. Just to keep an eye over the whole city. I wonder, maybe something at the top of the... I mean, maybe I'm just getting crazy right now, but something at the top of the mountain too? Some kind of water-related thing. Maybe there can be an arch where the water enters the aqueduct. Just as kind of an indicator, symbol, looking over the city of the city's technological power. Cool. Yeah, it's not too glamorous. It's still kind of functional looking, but it does look nice. Like, it would be a cool thing to photograph from the top of the hill. I think this is one of the favorite maps I've done. All right, so I think it's time for the grand tour. Let's start at the top. So we start with the volcano here. The volcano, I'm kind of imagining is the volcano from Pompeii. I forget exactly what the mountain's called, but let's just say it's already exploded. So the top is kind of blown off. I know that usually mountains have a much larger, or volcanoes usually have a much larger mouth if they've really been blown off. Like, it wouldn't be as large as a city block. It would be huge, but that's okay. This is a fake game. So just imagine that this is a big crater up here, and then at the top of this mountain. And the mountain itself has 3 different layers. A white layer here, really high up, which is kind of like the snowy peak. Then the brunt of the mountain is this dark gray color. And then the lower levels of the mountain, it's a little hard to see because the aqueduct blocks it. The lower levels of the mountain are this more light, yellowy, sandstony brown color. So at the top, you have the entrance to the aqueduct. The aqueduct, you know, I kind of like the idea of the aqueduct being, having a roof all the way down. So I think I should add a little house there, just to give it a roof. Perfect. So I'm imagining the aqueduct gets filled from here. This little dip is where the water goes through. Obviously, in this game, the water doesn't go all the way to the top of the volcano. That's just a product of the way the game is designed. The water is always going to be at this one bottom level, but I'm kind of imagining the water line is up here. So the water comes in through this arch, right into the aqueduct here, through here, and then each of these towers has some kind of tube going down so that as the water kind of cascades down the hill, it has a nice, easy path going. And then it comes down, and makes one big loop around the whole island area. And then presumably there are sewer systems or something underneath the ground that'll take the water into people's houses. So these towers are kind of where that happens. I would love it for the aqueduct not to have these windows here, because these windows make it look like a building and not a structure, but the game will automatically build these buildings, or the windows, so I have really no control over that. So then the aqueduct comes around the whole island until it reaches just below the place where it actually started over here, and that's where it ends. And then maybe from there it just drains into the ocean. So let me actually, I can build that right now. So let's imagine there's kind of a waterfall coming out of this arch right here. Yeah, perfect. Little waterfall going right into the water right there. So that brings me to the security. The security is indicated by the red walls, the red fort, the red tower here. And I'll kind of go through the different components. So at the far side of the island, you've got this red tower. This is just for observing anybody who might be invading from the opposite side. Obviously, there's no city on this half of the island. It's pretty much just on this half. There is something over here, but I'll get to that later. And so this tower is just meant to look out over everything, make sure nobody's invading or whatever. And then the wall kind of goes inland a little bit, and then goes right to the edge and kind of goes around the whole island here. Now, intermittently, it has these red arches. These arches are necessary to separate the paved area from the grassy area. Now, with a new update that came out this week, it'll automatically build these paths anywhere you have two arches that are along the same curved, I don't know what you'd call it, grid line. And so that's what we have here, this path extending from the fort over to kind of the no man's land area over there. Then here you've got these kind of, I'm imagining are little farmhouses or some kind of agricultural building just to have some rural population in this part of my world. Then the road goes into the fort. The fort is a pretty basic fort, nothing super grand about it. It's just this enclosed courtyard that borders on the water, and then it has these two buildings in here, maybe to store arms or maybe they're office buildings or something. But basically this fort is here to keep the island safe. Then if you are walking as a civilian, you'd go along this path to get to the main city, but the wall kind of continues along the edge until it gets to here. This, I'm imagining, is the main city of my island. Now, the two cities that I built are pretty much the same size. I guess this one's a little bit bigger, but I think that's because the buildings are more spread apart. But let's just pretend this building is definitively the capital city of the island. So I'm kind of pretending that this is the Pompeii of my situation here. It's right on the side of the volcano, kind of a precarious place to be. But it's got some distinctive features like this town hall right here, this blue town hall. This is my favorite format for a town hall, where I have the smallest tile possible as the center, and then with 3 wings on each side. Then next to the town hall, I've got this white building. I'm kind of imagining this is a secondary government building, like a courthouse or something, some kind of administrative thing. And then to the right, I've got the commercial area of the city. The commercial area of the city is right up against the piers here, right up against the breakwater. And so people who are coming in from a long day of fishing or going out or whatever, having to sell their stuff, they'll do that at the market, or they'll come into one of these larger commercial buildings where I'm kind of imagining the main businesses of the town to be here. Then the rest of the area is pretty much just houses. I need houses to block off the grassy area over here from the paved area over here, with the exception of this arch. The one last thing that's in the city is this building here. I think it's the largest building in my entire game, probably apart from the fort. It's, I'm imagining, like an auditorium space or some kind of important cultural building that is used by not just this city, but by tourists from other places and by this city as well. So that's kind of what justifies it being so large. Maybe it's a museum or something. But yeah, maybe it's a museum of the wreckage of the original city of Pompeii or something like that. Then you can continue to follow the wall until you get to the second city. This is differentiated from the first one by its color code. So this one you can see is all cool colors. This one you can see is a lot of reds and yellows and oranges. You'll enter the city by coming through the arch here and then entering through this arch beneath the aqueduct. And then you'll kind of walk along, let's see, let's go closer. You'll walk along this path underneath these purple walkways that are some kind of public building. Maybe they used to be a security thing for the city that now they don't really need because they have the red walls now, and they have kind of a common security system for both of the two cities. But these are still around. Maybe they're just a tourist attraction or something, but they're still here. So you walk along the water, and you can go 2 ways. You can either go to the right and you can go to the waterfront area. Now, this waterfront area is a little bit similar to this one in that it's just a protected harbor, basically, but it's a lot smaller. So this one I'm thinking is kind of more for tourists and recreational stuff, and then that one is more for heavy-duty fishing and things like that. Here I have a waterfront hotel, kind of modeled off of a hotel that I used to work at in my hometown, where we had an outdoor seating restaurant that was really nice, overlooking the water, with some balconies up top and a central tower in the middle. And then I've got some buildings over here, which I'm kind of just imagining are fishing shops or tourist shops or something to give the people in the hotel. And then over here, we've got some kind of central monument. I don't really know exactly what that is, but it has an observation deck at the top where you can see out over the top of the aqueduct. So you can see out pretty much over the whole ocean in every direction, with the exception of the stuff that's blocked by the volcano. And then beneath that, we have, oh, I didn't realize this actually looks kind of like a church. Yeah, so that could be a church or some kind of religious building in the middle of my town. And then this is the town hall. The town hall, I couldn't find what I said earlier was my favorite format of making a town hall, which was the tiny little square surrounded by 3 sides, 3 wings. So instead, I used the largest square possible, the 5-pointed star, and added 2 wings on the side of it. And so that kind of represents the town hall for this city. Then around this area and just around the back here, you've got more residential buildings, more little houses and kind of back streets and stuff. I really like how this game creates laundry on the alleys between 2 buildings. I just think it makes it look a lot more lived in, and it is a really good way of kind of simulating people when there aren't obviously any people around. Then you can take the path out of the city to what I'm imagining is like a weird meditation, hotel, luxury, resort type of thing for both people who are from the area and people who are tourists coming from the outside. They can meditate in these towers or live in these towers, and then they have access to these paths going along the side of the volcano where you have these 3 different buildings kind of built into the walls of the mountain, and each one can have like a different purpose. In my town, there's kind of something similar to this. It's like a community education center. Actually, is the town next door, but the purposes of the actual place kind of don't make that much sense. It's kind of got these abstract mission statements that are like world peace and equality and blah, 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 blah. And so each of the buildings kind of has one theme. So maybe people can drink tea or whatever and get educated on different woke subjects, whatever that means. Wow, so I think I just made it through the whole map. Oh, and then the last thing I should mention are these 2 towers here are just some extra security, so that the military or whoever can look out over the ocean, at least on this side, and make sure that nobody's coming. I mean, they could do that on these walls here, but I think that these towers are nice just because they're higher up from everything, and they kind of look out over a farther distance. So that is my build for today. This is what I'm imagining is the city of Pompeii. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to Zachary Wade for commenting that you want to see an aqueduct and that inspiring this whole video. If anybody has any suggestions for a future video I can do, please leave it in the comments and I'll probably do it if I like it. Please leave it in the comments and I'll probably do it. And with that, that is the end of my video. So Black Lives Matter. I hope you all have an excellent day and make sure to check out my YouTube channel. So that is my city. So this is my city. I'm kind of imagining it's the city of Pompeii and maybe one of the other cities near it, like I think it's Herculum or something like that. But that's the build. Thank you very much for Zachary Wade for recommending the aqueduct, which kind of inspired this whole build. If you want to see other builds by me, please check out my YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button, turn on your post notifications so that you can watch them as soon as they come out. I have been publishing videos daily, but I might ease up on that just because it's a lot of work to make and edit these videos. But with that, thank you very much once again for sticking through the whole thing. I hope you have an excellent day. Black Lives Matter, and I'll see you in my next video.